Good morning. Welcome to the No Way Jose podcast. This is the Morning Dump. I am your host, Jose Galison, and this is the kitty of the day, Ozzy, in his winter sweater. Now, if you like seeing my hot takes Monday through Friday around 11 a.m. Eastern, or if you just like seeing the kitty of the day, then be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell for notifications so you can see when I'm going live. And when I drop a new video, we'll see you in the show.
Beautiful thing, right now.
Rise and shine, it's a beautiful day. I'm alright.
About a third of the building has been blown away.
This is the bridge to the white light.
Our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad.
It's crazy evil.
Good morning, good morning. Hope everyone's staying warm. It's actually chilly here in Florida. For once, you will see me in a long sleeve sweatshirt. We have plenty to go through today. It's pretty much going to be wall-to-wall coverage of Epstein file stuff, and really probably might be that for the next couple days. I know we actually do have some like ICE stuff, and Don Lemon got arrested, and some other things you should probably get to, but the Epstein list kind of takes the fore. So for those who've probably got a little bit of ICE fatigue, I can tell you guys I have a little bit as well. This is a little bit of a welcome change, some Epstein information, some new Epstein files dropping, so we'll cover all that. We broke it up into a few different segments, but of course we'll always start off, as we typically do, with our Icebreaker content, a little more fun, funny, goofy. I pulled a couple of the funny Epstein files from that, and then we'll get into foreign policy after that, and then we'll get into the main segments of the day. Elon the Island Boy, Epstein Elites, and Pizza Time. So we'll go through all that and more. But with that, guys, and as always, I do in between each segment, I will pop in, say hi, say good morning, all the like, and do want to remind you guys as well, I do timestamp these. So if you don't want to hear the chat banter, I keep that towards the end of each segment. So if you can just go to the next timestamp or whatever. But with that, guys, let's go ahead and get into the Icebreaker content. Starting off, this is probably one of the only, I guess, non-Epstein files thing. Oh my God, you gotta be kidding me! I had it set up and then immediately the audio kicked out. Give me 1 second. Here we go. Now it's back. This one's not Epstein files related, but sort of. It feels like it should be. Here's just someone making fun of Lindsey Graham. So just listen to this and enjoy the beautiful harassment of this effeminate leprechaun.
Hey, Lindsay, why don't you just admit that you're gay and then people won't blackmail you anymore? Hey, Lindsay.
Okay, a little silly, a little cheap, but it is still fun. It makes me giggle. It's just somebody ambushing Lindsey Graham, saying, "Why don't you just come out, and then you don't have to." Then people won't blackmail anymore. But speaking of blackmail, apparently they tried to do the same. They tried to blackmail, or they tried to at least get within the good graces to where maybe they could perhaps blackmail one each Chad Finkelstein. And by Chad I mean Norman. But let me tell you why he's earned the name of Chad here. Here's some stuff that dropped from the Epstein files in relation to Norman Finkelstein, which I'm not sure if we covered this in our show a while back, but I think it was Finkelstein and was the target of some academic attack forever. There was I forget the name of it. I'm blanking right now. It's got a name for it. It was a well-known in academia, where I believe Finkelstein and I think another academic, maybe I'm mixing it up with another situation, got attacked, essentially academically. Everyone coming down oh my God, you're anti-Semites, and come to find out, I think we found out in the last drop, or maybe even before, it may have been just from different reporting from maybe Drop Site or something, that actually it was Epstein and Larry Summers and others behind the scenes that were making those things happen. But I guess there may be a little bit more to this lore, but apparently they tried to get in touch with Jeffrey Epstein. Apparently Harvard Professor Robert Trivers tried to get Jeffrey Epstein in touch with him. Instead of accepting it, instead of accepting it, God, why am I ranking on my words? Norman, instead of accepting it, Norman's basically said that both those guys should get strangled. So let's read it real quick. Here's an email back and forth. Says, my guess is if Epstein put your daughter age 15 in such a position, you wouldn't publicly describe him as a friend in personal integrity. In fact, I would hope that you'd promptly throttle both Epstein and Dershowitz. And he shares there the sworn testimony of Jane Doe 3. That's what he's talking about. It says Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz was around Epstein frequently. Dershowitz was so comfortable with the sex that was going on, he would even come out and chat with Epstein while I was giving oral sex to Epstein. And that was from a Jane Doe 3 from some previous something or other. I don't know the how valid that is, but either way, it is hilarious that they tried to get into contact with the old Finkelstein, and he said, suck dick. So Chad for sure. Then this guy points out, he says, this is hilarious because you can see that Jeffrey Epstein was CC'd in that. So we saw Norman calling him and Dershowitz pedophile, rapist, perverted scumbags who should be strangled to death. Trivers, being the scumbag he is, again tried to establish contact between them in 2017 and 2018, which is the sole other mentions of Norman's name in the released records, alongside Dershowitz's autobiography he emailed to Epstein, where he hysterically whines about Norman and smears him as a failed scholar. Norman never replied to Trivers' later attempt to establish contact, and it seems he cut off all contact with him too. I guess another person deserves credit here. Trivers' original email to Norman was him forwarding a message from a Professor Joseph Cheney, who called out Trivers for being a disgusting, vile pedophile rape apologist creep for defending Epstein. Trivers forwarded this to Norman, hoping to get him to agree with him that he was being a hysterical freak and Epstein is actually awesome. Instead, Norman shut him down, said Dershowitz and Epstein are pedophile rapists who should be strangled, and never responded to him again. So, yeah, there was another professor in there who was actually mega based too. So who would have thought? There's actually some dope academics out there. Moving on. God, I had one for you. What the hell happened? Sorry, I just realized the one I had ready to go is not there. What is going on? Give me a second. What the hell? I think I accidentally clicked on the wrong thing earlier. Damn it. Whatever. Then I guess we're short one of these. Give me 1 second. Man, I totally had one. Here we go. Here's what I was looking for. I accidentally clicked out of this and I had my tabs mixed up. Here is another Epstein file. Let me see. It says Epstein asking about someone where they looked fat and retarded. Let's read the email exchange. It says, do you have a photo of you and girls in Paris where you looked fat and retarded? Could you send? And the person responds, we'll try to find. I used my old email, then something, and I suspended that account. So the name's not listed, but it is just funny that Epstein's asking for pictures of someone where they look fat and retarded, asking it in such a manner. All right, guys, let's pop into the chat. And I just realized I totally did not have my form. I am not prepared today. I did not have my morning stuff ready properly. I thought I had my foreign policy stuff ready to go. I did not. All right, I got a couple. All right, whatever. I threw together a couple real quick. Let's roll through the chat. Say hello. Sorry, man, I'm not prepared today. I don't know what's going on. I had it all prepared, then I realized a couple little minor things were all fuckered up. But let's go through the chat and say good morning to some of you fellows. So good morning, Boomer Sooner. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Comment Mama. Good morning, JC. Good morning, Bobo. Good morning, Lauren McIntyre. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, Hamar Neal. That's a fun name. Good morning, Balake. Says just not gay without Jose. Let's go. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, Ryan Jules. Yes, Finkelstein remains a champion. Yeah, mega base. Hit that like button, says Bobo. Yes, please do. Please. Good morning, John Black. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, Boomer Sooner. I appreciate that. I like money. A casual little reminder there. You guys can super chat for those who the drought is over. The demonetization has ended. We'll see. We'll see how long that lasts, though. But in the meantime, feed daddy, give him money, help feed the kitties. Let's build up the kitty fund. So appreciate it, Boomer Sooner. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Fire Pixie. Yes, Bobo, we can super chat now. So drop some shekels in the chat. Let me see. John Black says apparently Epstein was a water Nazi based on the files. It hasn't been highly reported. Yes, Epstein would agree with me. By the way, I do got to push it back. Just a little casual thought. Maybe this will come up in a segment later, but it doesn't really fit in. The whole line of like, I'm gonna be like, oh, this guy has aura, he's got Riz or whatever when it comes to Epstein. I've watched already now like probably well over an hour of that Bannon interview that dropped. That was like, it's about 2 hours long. And I'm telling you, he does not. He does not have Riz. He's lame. You can feel like he's a shuckster. I mean, to be fair, we're dealing with a bias of like, we already know shit about him. But even then, I struggle to believe that this is a guy that'd be like, in the photos we see, he does have like good style and he's always in like these fancy places. So it looks cool. But then when you hear him talk and hear how he acts, and it just kind of comes off as like con man, like city Jew, like, not aura, not Chad, not like any of those like, oh, that's so cool vibes. It's trying to, especially from the Groyper area. No, it ain't happening. He's a loser trying to emulate Chad. That's what he is. Good morning, Bug Fights. Good morning. We sure do have lots to talk about. John Black says, from now on, the term base can only be used to describe the fact that Ron Ball's name is in the files, but he's too principled to be used. Yeah, I had those. I have that bookmarked. Maybe that'll come up another segment later this week. Bobo says, show me Jeff and I'll send you $2. I'm not going to, I don't know if he comes by. I mean, I guess it's $2 is $2, but like, I'm not going to go chase around the house looking for the cat. But I did show you Ozzy. I showed you Ozzy at the beginning. All right. I think we're all caught up in the chat. Let's get into some foreign policy. Like I said, I was a retard. I didn't have this properly prepared, but I have a couple. I think it was kind of a light week anyways. All things considered, it looks like we're still just kind of ramping up things in Iran. So, I don't know. We'll see how this works. Out. It looks like we're probably going to war with Iran with these Epstein files dropping. It's hard to believe that we wouldn't. But yeah, let's pop in. I only got a couple stories for you guys. So Trump, again, let's leave with the Iran story. So Iran's Khamenei said U.S. attack will lead to regional war. So we've had a little bit of a response from the supreme leader in response to some of the saber rattling that's been occurring over here, stateside. So he warned on Sunday that any U.S. attack on his country would lead to a regional war, comments that come amid threats of a U.S. attack on the Islamic Republic as the U.S. military is building up its forces in the region. The Americans should know that if they start a war this time, it will be a regional war, Khamenei said. We are not the ones who start, and we do not want to attack any country, but the Iranian nation will deliver a hard punch to anyone who attacks and harasses it. When asked about Khamenei's remarks, President Trump told reporters, of course he's going to say that, and added that he hopes the U.S. and Iran can make a deal. But it's unlikely Tehran would agree to Washington's current demands, which include limits on Iran's ballistic missiles, a condition Iranian officials have made clear is a non-starter. And then it says Trump also used previous negotiations with Tehran to cover to launch a 12-day U.S.-Israeli war against Iran, saying on Truth Social he was committed to a diplomatic solution just hours before Israeli airstrikes started hitting the country. Despite his earlier deception, Abbas Araghchi, the Iranian foreign minister, has spoken optimistically about reaching a deal with the U.S. He said that he was confident that we can achieve a deal and said that there were messages being sent between the U.S. and Iran through mediators that were fruitful, though he said that Tehran had lost trust in the U.S. as a negotiating partner. The U.S. could be looking to buy more time before bombing Iran, as it's positioning additional military assets in the region to prepare for the defense of U.S. bases in Israel from Iranian missiles. According to a report published by the Wall Street Journal on Sunday, the U.S. is deploying an additional THAAD battery and Patriot air defenses to bases where U.S. troops are stationed across the Middle East, including Jordan, Kuwait, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. U.S. sources told the Journal that the U.S. military could conduct limited airstrikes on Iran if the president were to order an attack today. But the kind of decisive attack that Trump had asked the military to prepare would likely prompt a proportional response from Iran, requiring more air defenses to be in place. The report said U.S. strikes aren't imminent since an attack won't come until more U.S. firepower arrives in the region. So it looks like still a bit of a waiting game. It'll probably be whenever this Epstein stuff boils up to its full fever pitch. That'll probably be right when we go to Iran. Same thing with the ICE stuff. As soon as the ICE stuff reaches its fever pitch, we'll go, Epstein files. So it seems distraction after distraction after distraction. Although each distraction is, individually important, but it's just like, oh, you're getting really upset at this one crazy fucking thing we did. Well, here's another fucking crazy thing, and now you'll forget about the last crazy fucking thing. But speaking of crazy things, we're still giving money to Israel. Trump apparently bypassed Congress to advance major weapons package. So the State Department approved a $6.5 billion weapons package that includes Apache helicopters and military vehicles. So, they approved a $6.5 billion in new weapons deals for Israel that include Apache attack helicopters, military vehicles, a step Secretary of State Marco Rubio took without waiting for the normal congressional review process. According to the New York Times, the approval of the arms deal marks the third time that the Trump administration bypassed Congress to send weapons to Israel. The arms packages had been under review by the House Foreign Affairs Committee and the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and the State Department is supposed to wait until the top two members of each committee approve the deals before advancing them, but Rubio didn't, drawing a rebuke from Representative Gregory Meeks, the ranking member of the House committee. Said just 1 hour ago, the Trump administration informed me it would disregard congressional oversight and years of standing practice and immediately notify over $6 billion in arms sales to Israel, Meeks said. Shamefully, this is now the second time the Trump administration has blatantly ignored long-standing congressional prerogatives while also refusing to engage Congress on critical questions about the next steps in Gaza and broader U.S. policy. According to the Pentagon's Defense Security Cooperation Agency, the State Department approved a total of 4 potential arms sales for Israel, which will likely be funded by U.S. military aid. The deals include Apache helicopters and related equipment for $3.8 billion, Joint Light Tactical Vehicle and related equipment for $1.98 billion, Namer armored personnel carrier power packs, less transmissions, and integrated logistics support for an estimated cost of $740 million. And then at $150 million, we got light utility helicopters and related equipment. All said and done, we every year provide Israel with $3.8 billion annual military aid under a 10-year memorandum of understanding. But since October 7th and the start of the IDF's genocidal campaign in Gaza, we've given significantly more. According to Brown's University Cost of War Project, in the 2 years following October 7th, the U.S. has spent at least $21.7 billion on military aid in Israel and another $9.65 billion to $12.07 billion on wars in Yemen, Iran, and other military operations in the region to support Israel. So what's that? That's we go $10 billion plus we'll go $30 billion. So we've spent about $30 billion. The yearly average is about $40 billion, but we've spent about $30 billion recently. Totally checks out. If the greatest ally needs it, then who are we to say otherwise? But checking in on the Caribbean, apparently we're getting ready to have talks with Cuba. So I know it sounds like a positive development. So Donald Trump in the U.S. said that the U.S. was engaging with Cuba and called for the country to be made free again. We're starting to talk to Cuba, Trump told reporters aboard Air Force One on Saturday. Doesn't have to be a humanitarian crisis. I think they probably would come to us and want to make a deal so Cuba would be free again. Trump did not provide details on what the U.S. hoped to achieve in the negotiations or who was leading the American delegation. The White House has been attempting to increase economic pressure on Havana by cutting off Cuba from Mexican and Venezuelan oil. Mexico decided to cut oil sales to Havana over fear of reprisals from Washington. The Wall Street Journal reported last week the White House is now searching for Cuban government insiders who can help cut a deal to push out the communist regime by the end of the year. So they're talking about making a deal, but I think that deal might be it sounds like that deal that they're getting at could very well be a deal like Venezuela may have been a deal. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. I'm none too hopeful. I mean, this has been a pretty wild regime in doing stuff like this. I mean, just recently we kidnapped a fucking world leader. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, maybe they'll just come to the table and give them everything and anything they want, and then it won't become this whole big snafu that this last one is. I don't know. We'll see. Let's pop back in the chat. Oh, I didn't even have these up the entire time, did I? My bad. Oh, well, let's pop in the chat, say hello again, and then we'll get into the initial segments. And I have those ready to go. I'm sorry. I fucked up and didn't have the foreign policy stuff ready to go. I thought I did. I also had that one tab in the Icebreaker stuff that I thought was up, but for some reason it changed tabs. My bad. These little things happen. One of these days we'll be big and rich, and we'll have a producer that makes sure all this stuff is right. So let's roll through, say some more good mornings, and then we'll get into the initial segments of today. Start off with Elon the Island Boy. Good morning, Alien Big Cat. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Tower Gang NPC. Good morning, Bobo. Said here's some because I seen the beginning, cat. Hell yeah, another $2. So step it up, guys. We're at 4, rolling in the dough. We need to come up with like a daily goal or something. Get all grifty about it. And if you don't, then kitties don't eat at all. So you should feel bad about that. All right, let's roll the chat. Bobo reminding you to hit that like button as well after giving me some money. So cool. Bump up those likes, people. Elliot says, did you get implicated in the Epstein files yet, Jose? No, I am not. Although surprisingly, a lot of people I know were. I saw who was it? JD or not JD? I almost said JD Vance. Ken Silva was in it. I know a guy that was on our show forever ago. Stephen DeLay. He was in them. Funny. I don't know if this is a joke. I think it was real because it's totally plausible. But it also could just be a joke. But considering where I found it. But I saw that supposedly, I think perhaps Big J Okerson and Luis Gomez might be in them. I don't know if that was a troll. It could have been just some sort of AI file somebody made to be like a joke, like, haha, you're in it. But when I saw the post, they were like, seemed dead serious. So, and I remember because I was looking through it and I was like, oh my God, please tell me Dave is in this. Because for those who've been paying attention to my Twitter presence, I just thought it would have been hilarious if like Dave was in the files and like considering we were sort of in like a whatever. Like I've been kind of talking shit. It would have been funny to be like just post with no context aside from like the screenshot and be like Dave Smith is in the Epstein files because immediately like oh my God he's trying to talk shit and you're like no it's what it was for him was it was like or for Gomez and Big J it was like an email saying they were going to like oh are you going to go to this or whatever. So it's him talking to somebody about going to see one of their shows, which. I mean, that's kind of wild to think that Epstein may have watched some of Big J and Okerson's and Luis Gomez's stand-up, but, I mean, it's not that crazy when you think that they're based in New York, and so was Epstein, so it's not that crazy that he would go see some comedy sometime. I'm trying to think. There might be some other people come to mind, too. I think there's some other people that were in there, so... Elliot says a lot of your friends in them. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. Only like 2 that I came off the hand, or off the top of my head. Maybe more later, Will. Good morning, Feet and Liberty says, if you don't hit like, then the pedos win. Yes, please hit that like button. Yeah, Ken was in them, but like not in a bad way. I probably should clarify. Anytime I think it was something to do with his reporting is what it was. So I think there's another reporter that I'm not thinking of right now that I know of that they're... Oh, Nick Bryan was in it as well. And I think there's somebody else I'm blanking on. But yeah, they were both like, hey, look out for this guy type thing. So Bobo wants Tower Gang back together. I mean, that'd be cool, I guess. We'll see. You never know. Maybe we'll all kiss up and we'll be good. Although, I don't even know if I really would want to do Tower Gang at this point. I mean, it's kind of nice not having like it was a lot. It was a lot. And you have to be on once a week. But at the same time, it was a nice little like a break from all the seriousness. And with all the things going on, there would be some rich content. So I don't know. Maybe it will take some form in some way, later. We'll see. But all right, let's go ahead and get into the first segment of the day. Let's talk about these Epstein files. Here is Todd Blanche. I think his name's Todd, right? I believe it's Todd. Blanche, at least. I know that's what it is. But here he is announcing that This was on the 30th. What was that? The Friday? Was that Friday? Yeah, on Friday this dropped. Later in the day Friday, after the morning show on Friday. Although, I may not have done a morning show Friday. I can't remember. Either way, it was like midday-ish. They came and said, hey, we're getting ready to drop a whole fuckload more. So here they are with that.
Today we are producing more than 3 million pages, including more than 2,000 videos and 180,000 images. In total, that means that the department produced approximately 3.5 million pages in compliance with the Act. Just a quick note about the videos and images. The 2,000 videos and 180,000 images are not all videos and images taken by Mr. Epstein or someone around him. They include large quantities of commercial pornography and images that were seized from Epstein's devices, but which he did not take or that someone around him did not take. Some of the videos, though, and some of the images do appear to be taken by Mr. Epstein or by others around him.
All right. One interesting little thing I think he mentioned there was images of like death or harm. Thought that was a little bit weird the first time I heard it before I even saw the files, but that does become very relevant pretty quickly in all of this. But popping in, let's start digging through these files. They dropped, and a shitload of them did, and a lot of people are still going through them. You just going through your timelines, just like bam, 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 new thing after new thing. And so we'll kind of day by day, I guess, maybe kind of pick out some of the main themes, I guess. And for right now, obviously, this first segment, we're going to kind of hone in on Elon a little bit. So here is one email that was going around initially that we'll read together real quick. And I sort of fell for this. I don't know if I'd say fell for it because, I mean, I'd already seen, I think at this point, like a multiple other Elon emails related to the island. But here is one email that we did find out later is fake, so keep that in mind with all of these. But here's the fake one that was kind of funny. It says, "Hi Jeff, I was thinking of flying down for an epic vacation. Redacted told me you were planning a party. Girls for the win. I cleared my calendar. What are the details? Thank you, good sir." This is obviously from Elon to Epstein. Then the next one is deal with this, thank you, and it's forwarded to obviously what's Ghislaine's, I believe, but it just says G, which is I think what she was referred to, and then it says, "I'm so sorry, Elon, you just missed JE. He actually told me he was thinking of winding down the entire Little St. James operation. Bummer. If it starts up again, we'll be sure to let you know." I posted this evergreen tweet or video whenever you catch somebody in a crazy lie and you have the receipts.
What's this, you fucking piece of shit? What's this? Huh? What's this, motherfucker? What's this? Huh? What's this? What the fuck is this, motherfucker? Huh? What's this?
All right, one of my favorite reaction memes. And when I said that Elon was such a weird dork, they didn't want him at the Elite Kitty sucking fucks. Because obviously that one sounds like, Epstein just forwarded it to his fucking assistant, was like, tell him to fuck off, basically. And then he got told to fuck off. Oh, we're not even doing that anymore. Well, I was wrong. There is a community note on this. This one's complete bullshit. But, okay, it doesn't really help. The wrong here is kind of in the wrong way. Because right here, this is, obviously the situation here is, he's too much of a fucking nerd to get to Pedo Island. Where in fact, as we will present to you today, it looks like he was not too much of a nerd to go to Pedo Island. Now the only question becomes, did he actually ever go to Pedo Island? So we'll go through all of that. So you can see the community note here. So be sure with these, I guess a little bit of hazard. Be very careful with these. And also bear in mind, like with every one of these being like something dropping from the files, like, and you guys aren't retarded, so I think you know this. But it being in the files does not therefore make it, fact. Like, it's not therefore truth. And you also have to keep in mind all the different types of things that are being dropped in there. There are 302s, which I'm not sure if you're sworn to the truth when you do a 302, but a little bit more formalized. Like you might be. I think you might be. I think you are. So there's like that level of like, well, they did promise, but like, that's not that crazy. Then there's also lots, for example, that I've seen multiple that are like email that was sent to the estate. And there's all sorts of stuff that's even from like well after Epstein's death. So just be verifying this stuff. Anytime you see one of these like crazy things and like, yeah, some of these are pretty wild and salacious. You're like, whoa, that's nuts. But take a moment, be like, well, okay, well, what's the source here? Like, who's saying this? What's going on? What's the situation? I'd say the cream de la cream here is probably like these emails. But even then, even here, you can have people can fake emails. So a lot of these people have been posting the links. For example, this one right here, you could follow this one, justice.gov. And so keep an eye, like, look for links. Just be like, hey, you can follow it up. You can go to the fucking DOJ site and you can verify, oh, this is legit. To degree to whatever, even then, there's an additional layer of like, well, do you believe it because it's coming from the DOJ? But I mean, we can only do so much. There's a certain wall of information where you're like, hey, we can't go any further. But either way, just bear that in mind with all this stuff, and we'll try to as we go through. Now, as I said, though, emails that are obviously like on the site, I'd say are probably the best because those are direct, communications between these people. So these aren't some random, somewhere making some crazy story, which I'm sure we'll have plenty of those to go through. But here's one of the actual real emails, and this doesn't necessarily paint a better picture, but I think I'm mentioning this. I'm just saying with us schizzos out there, be super careful because this is you can see the writing on the wall. This is going to be the play. There's going to be insane, crazy shit in this, and there's going to be a lot of it probably be real, and then probably a good deal of it be completely bullshit, and they're going to make people look stupid when they fall for the bullshit stuff, and they're just going to ignore the legit stuff. So just be prepared for that, as we're already kind of seeing. But here's a back and forth between Elon and Epstein. Says, we'll be in the BVI/St. Bart's area over the holidays. Is there a good time to visit? Then it says, any day, 1st to 8th, play it by ear if you want. Always space for you. And it says, okay, probably the 1st then. The 2nd or 3rd would be perfect. I will come and get you. I need to fly to LA on the night of the 2nd. So actually, I could fly back early on the 3rd. We will be in St. Bart's. When should we head over to your island on the 2nd? And it says, just a reminder, Elon was asking about coming to your island on January 2nd. So it looks like maybe it's from Leslie Groff here. I'm assuming maybe that must be one of his like assistants or something, reminding him, hey, you had this back and forth. I mean, I guess if we do want to shit on Elon a little bit, it is kind of funny that it seems like he kind of dropped the thread of a back and forth. So that's how little he cared about Elon, to where he didn't stay super attentive to the back and forth there. But add a little bit more to this too. Here's Elon's true daughter or son or whatever you want to call it. I guess say this is villainous is their thing. Is their Twitter? I guess no. This is on Threads. It says, I'm just going to speak directly instead of being vague and cryptic. I can confirm we were in St. Bart's at the time specified in the emails, and therefore I believe they are authentic. So that's his daughter, son, whatever. I forget. I don't know. It's whatever. I mean, it kind of looks like a chick, so that's why I keep saying daughter. But I'm trying to not be PC. I don't really care. Whatever. You look girly enough. I'll call you a chick. Whatever. I don't care. But yes. So this person right here saying, "Yep, we were in St. Bart's around that time." So that totally checks out. I think my daddy was going to Pedo Island. And speaking of, here's more between it. This one's kind of a funny one, though. This is kind of shows the autism of Epstein. And if there were any truth to them not wanting him at Pedo Island, it would probably be shit like this, because this guy seems completely incapable of speaking in code or anything like that. So here's another back and forth between Epstein and Elon. So Epstein says, any plans for New York? The opening of the General Assembly has many interesting people coming to the house. Then Elon goes, I run and lead product design engineering for 2 complicated companies. Moreover, SpaceX is about to launch what is arguably the most advanced rocket in history. Flying to New York to see UN diplomats do nothing would be an unwise use of time. And then Epstein goes, do you think I am retarded? Just kidding. There is no one over 25 and all very cute. So kind of getting straight to the point. But a little bit of Epstein's autism, or Elon's autism comes into play here. Here's another one. This one's saying apparently Epstein trafficked 3 girls to Elon Musk. So let's check this one out. So here is from Leslie Groff to Elon. So it is, that is one of his assistants. Leslie Groff is an assistant to Jeffrey Epstein. It says, "Hello, Mary Beth. I have now sent you a copy of all 3 girls' passports. Sorry, redacted is upside down, but I figure you will print. Jeffrey will have his ID with him. Thank you, Leslie, assistant to Jeffrey Epstein." Now, obviously, this doesn't necessarily mean that 3 girls were trafficked. I mean, but I struggle. What is the situation here where you need 3 girls' passports? I don't know. Maybe they're traveling somewhere and he's bringing 3 women with him. I don't know. I'm trying to find a way to understand this. This isn't weird, but it doesn't look good. I'll give you this. It doesn't look good. Now, as I said, make sure to verify these. See the link right here. You can follow this over here. You can just see, just to show you guys. It'll show you, ask, are you 18 years of age? Yes. Come on. And we can verify this is actually the email. So here we go. You get the PDF from the DOJ, and here it is. We can verify that is the case. So looks like some weird shenanigans going on here. And then Elon starts spurging a little bit on Twitter, which has been kind of fun to watch. So here's Elon saying, "Nobody has fought harder for full release of the Epstein files and prosecutions of those who abused children more than I did. Knowing full well the legacy media, far-left propagandists, and those who were actually guilty would 1. Admit nothing, 2. Deny everything, 3. Make counter-accusations against me." Which, funny enough, that's exactly what he's been doing. "I knew that I would be smeared relentlessly, despite never having attended his parties or been on the Lolita Express plane or set foot on his creepy island or done anything wrong at all. Nonetheless, the extreme pain of being accused of being the opposite of who I am was worth it. The strength must protect those who cannot protect themselves, especially vulnerable children. I will gladly accept any amount of future pain to do more to protect kids and give them a chance to grow up and have happy lives." Let's follow up a little bit more. Here's one of my mutuals here sharing another one of these Epstein back and forth. It's the reply here is probably just Tallulah and me. "What day/night will be the wildest party on your island?" I forgot to read the beginning part. "How many people will you? How many people will you be for the heli to the island, the helicopter?" And then it's probably just Tallulah and me. "What day/night will be the wildest party on the island?" So once again, not looking so good. But wait, there's more. Here's more here. Here's this guy saying, "I don't know why people are not focusing this one more. He literally said yes in response to going to the island." So because he's kind of played this like, well, I never went. We'll see some more here, but here's him literally saying yes. So will you come to the Caribbean this Xmas? Woody Allen with me. You might enjoy. That's Epstein. And then Elon replies yes. So we have he said he was going to go over there, or at least the Caribbean. So I don't know. We assume that means the island. So he said yes. He said he wants to, but he's going to kind of hold the line of, but I didn't. And here's more from him. He's been kind of spurging out on Twitter. Here's him responding to Doge designer saying, "Bill Gates emails and Epstein files, Steve Bannon emails and Epstein files, Reid Hoffman emails and Epstein files, Elon Musk emails and Epstein files, Bill Clinton emails and Epstein files, but only Elon Musk is calling for prosecutions. The other is silent. Why is that?" Elon going, "Because they are guilty." Well, I mean, as I said, deny everything, counter accusations, admit nothing, whatever. I might have that order wrong, but looking more like this. Here's Elon, once again doing the counter accusations. So him talking shit about Reid Hoffman. Says, "This is how I knew so long ago that Reid Hoffman went to Epstein's island. Epstein used Reid being there to try to get me to go, not realizing that would have the opposite effect." Here's an email he's sharing. It says, "Reid was on the island last weekend. Do you think you will be in Caribbean for Xmas? New Year's? Question mark." So this is from Epstein and Elon. This is Epstein to Elon here. So him asking like, "Oh, Reid Hoffman was just here. Do you think you'll be here?" So once again, trying poaching him to come, which, I don't know, given the context, he's kind of clearly wanted to multiple times, doesn't look great. Let me see what else we got. Oh yeah, let's keep going on this Reid Hoffman train. There's Reid Hoffman responded, which I don't know a ton about Reid Hoffman. I think he's some like anti-Trump guy. I think he is kind of implicated in this stuff. He's a co-founder of LinkedIn, investor, and an MSFT board member. So something about building a LLM. So I don't know. I don't know enough about this guy. I know he does come up sometimes with this stuff. But he says, give us a break. If you cared about the victims, you'd say you'd stop making false accusations to cover your ass and start using your $220 million of influence with President Trump to get justice for the victims. Instead, you're focused on comparing my visit fundraising for MIT to your begging to go to his island, which happened 2 years before the screenshot you shared, and helicoptering over to Epstein looking for the wildest party. So he did point out there's a lot right there, that paragraph right there. For one, he did point out that the begging to go to his island happened 2 years before this. So he's almost like he was trying to get it out to be like, oh, look, he tried to say Reid Hoffman went and tried to flout that to me. And then that clearly was like, oh, I'm not going to go if Reid Hoffman's there. But that's 2 years after all of the begging that we already covered. But even then, it is pretty wild. Reid Hoffman did basically he just admitted, yeah, I did go to Epstein's island, but whatever. Hey, give me your props for being, I guess, honest. He said it was for fundraising for MIT. So, I mean, whatever. Continuing, he says he lied about this to everyone for over a decade. And now your excuse is disgusting, by the way, is that you could get young girls without Epstein, which he did say that somewhere else where I saw some tweet where he was like, somebody was like, oh, why would Elon do this? He could have any girl he wanted in the world, like as if that's actually true, for one. And then Elon was like, totally, or whatever. I forget how he responded. But that was one of the things he responded to online. So that's what Reid Hoffman's making fun of. So yeah, just it's funny. Reid just did admit that he went as well. And for those who don't remember, we've covered this little tidbit multiple times on the show. Elon Musk's brother, Kimball Musk, is pretty sure I think he married one of Epstein's girls. So, but let's read this email back and forth with Epstein and Kimball Musk, the brother of Elon. So here it is. Says, Jeffrey, message received wide and clear. Seriously, actually, let's go back to the other one. I think I read these out of order. Let's read these in this order. Says, per our conversation, great to hang out today. Jeffrey and Boris, many thanks for connecting me with Redacted. I believe you both played a role. And he goes, thank you, Kimball. Just FYI, you better be nice to Redacted. Jeffrey goes crazy when someone mistreats his girls/friends, so better be very nice to her. And Jeffrey and I better have a special treatment at your ceremony. Great to hang out with you. See you very soon. Please keep me posted for your travel plans in New York City. I'm in New York City very often as well. So this is him being warned by, who is this, Boris Nikolic, that Epstein very much doesn't like if you're mean to his girls, which I don't know, that's kind of sweet in a weird, fucked up way. It says Jeffrey, message received wide and clear. Who says wide and clear? That's weird. Seriously, I'm very happy with my time so far with Jennifer. She's great. I will be back in New York City for Halloween weekend, October 25th to 28th. It scares me to imagine that you'll be for Halloween, Boris, but I want to see it. Let me know if you'll be there. All right, guys, that's all I have for Elon. We'll get into the Epstein Elites here in a moment. Let's check in through the chat, say more good mornings, all that sort of stuff. Girls for the win, not gay guys, is JC. That one was fake, the girls for the win one, though, so... Good morning, XBLG. He says, my co-worker told me Trump got a tent stake stuck up his ass in 83 or something. Okay. Was that in the files or just something your homie told you? That's cool. Good morning, Fat Cat. Says the bigger the philanthropist, the bigger the PDF file. Sure seems that way. Good morning, Daz. Good morning. Says evening all. Sorry, I'm late. Somebody's in a different time zone. Glad you're here with us. Good morning or good evening, I guess, for you, wherever you're at. Let me see who else we got. Say some more. Good morning, OG Meets the Balls. Catching up at a blazing 1.5 speed. Good morning, y'all. Maybe I should talk slower just for you. All right, rolling through. To get near the end of this chat. Everyone's talking, saying hi to everybody. Fire Pixies catfishing in the chat. Jose says, Elliot, are you out? Are you trying to get some dudes in the chat? Fire Pixie, what's going on? All right, let's get into Epstein Elites. To start off with, here's a great blast from the past moment. Let's cover this way. Actually, here's another Epstein file, and let's here we go. Here's another Epstein file, which this one's pretty interesting. Here is between Eva Dubin and Jeffrey Epstein. So it's from Jeffrey Epstein to Eva Dubin. Well, initially, the first message is from Eva Dubin. It says, Mary Kennedy found dead in her backyard. And then the response from Jeffrey Epstein is, whoops. I actually should mention, too, it's important, I guess, especially for the audio listeners. The initial message from Eva Dubin, Mary Kennedy found dead in her backyard, ... So, like kind of like suspense. And then Epstein responds, whoops. And this was in 2012. So, yeah. So now, as this person points out, MJ Truth Ultra says Mary Kennedy was the former wife of RFK Jr., who died of suicide hanging in their barn, but there were details about how she died that caused suspicion. Apparently, there were bruises on her fingers. So, and I think this is relevant here. Here's an oldie but a goodie, if for those who recall this moment.
Do you have concerns about the level of Israeli influence in our politics here in the United States of America?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a politician in political office, so I don't.
All right, the pause heard around the world. Now, I did initially I was initially looking for this picture right here, which is another great picture, because I put, holy shit, no way, or something like that. You would have put, holy shit, no way. Being sarcastic, obviously. I initially was looking for this picture, which is a Zoom call between, I forget who this guy is on the right. He's one of the Israeli generals or something. I don't know. He's some sort of propagandist for the Israeli military or country generally. On the other side, the Zoom call with RFK, he literally has sitting next to him, he has Shmuley, who is videoing the interaction on his phone. So obviously being a little sarcastic there, like, no way. Oh no, there's blackmail possibly on RFK. Oh. Well, I do think it's also worthwhile finding out who the fuck Eva Dubin is. Here is, appreciate it to Monatic here, dropping some information here. But Eva Birgitta Anderson Dubin, born in 1961, is a Swedish physician, former model, and a beauty pageant title holder. She's the founder of the Dubin Breast Center at the Tisch Cancer Institute. That name should ring a bell for those who follow this show enough. The Tisch is one of those mega donor types. At Mount Sinai Hospital in New York City, she is married to hedge fund billionaire Glenn Dubin. She worked as a model and won Miss Sweden in 1980. So here's some more from Eva Dubin, Epstein's ex-girlfriend and current wife of Highbridge Capital, Glenn Dubin. Apparently, she was writing Epstein's prescriptions for things like STD medication and erectile dysfunction. So here's one example of this. This is a sort of weird relationship she had with Epstein. So you see Dwayne Reed is open till 9 p.m. This is number 1 on 2nd and 63rd. And the response here is Dwayne Reed, Famvir 250, bid 5 days, Cialis 5 or 10 milli, 25 pills. So just kind of directly asking for drugs from this lady, which that's very illegal, but whatever. So this is the Eva Dubin, one of his ex-girlfriends. That's who's telling him about the Kennedy. Now, obviously, I don't know. He just said, whoops, we don't fucking know, but paints a sinister picture. And let's be real, who would be the least bit surprised when it came to him? And especially when we have loads of things like this email stalked in these Epstein files, which there was some sinister stuff that came out. This one, for example, here's one where the who it's from is redacted. And it's to Jeffrey, and it says, I give you permission to kill him. He is apparently with redacted. He lied to you, and he lied to me. Obviously, we have no idea who this is about. And it is insane. Keep in mind, they're not supposed to be just redacting shit like this. This is like the most insane. I mean, okay, maybe it's some sort of weird joke that we're missing the context for, but this is totally something that shouldn't be redacted. Like, these are the sort of things that shouldn't be. This sounds like a crime right here, and they redacted the names, which is literally covering for a criminal, which is not something they're supposed to be doing. They were supposed to only, I believe it was like only the victims, but they've redefined what victim means. It's anyone that hasn't been found guilty in the court of law, it seems, which is everyone except for, I guess, Epstein and maybe some of the other people who have already gotten in trouble. So yeah, that seems to be the rules they're playing by. But when you see stuff like this, it makes you wonder, oh shit, maybe they were doing stuff like this. And now we're going to get even darker here with Howard Lutnick. This is Lucky Lutnick. This is, was he the Commerce Secretary, I believe, or something like that? He's one of Trump's cabinet members here. Here, let's check out this email. This shit is wild. And he had originally claimed that, I believe, what was his claim? That he hadn't seen, that he went on a podcast a while back, and he had this whole story about how, like, because he lived next door to Epstein. And so people always bring that up all the time. I was like, oh, shit, this guy lives next to Epstein. That's kind of wild. What a weird coincidence. And then, like, he did one time, not long ago, it was really weird. It was, like, kind of near the peak of this Epstein stuff, and it was kind of a weird move because it kind of seemingly stabbed the administration in the back because they were kind of trying to distance himself and make it sound like it was fake shit. And then he came out with this story of, like, oh, the first time I met Epstein, I went over to his place, and I forget the specifics, something like, oh, he's trying to get me a massage, and I think he might have been like, there were chicks around. But anyways, he characterized him as like a creep. He didn't like it. He's like, I'm never going to hang out with this guy, and I never did. Well, that was a fucking lie, as we could see by this email right here. It says, hi, Jeff. We are landing in St. Thomas early Saturday afternoon and planning to head over to St. Bart/Anguilla on Monday at some point. Where are you located? What is exact location for my captain? Does Sunday evening for dinner sound good? I have another couple, Michael and Marcy Lehrman, with me on my boat, and each of us has 4 children. 2 16s, 2 14s, a 13, a 12, an 11, and a 7-year-old, which is a little bit of an odd way to refer to children. If you're like, I don't know if you had family members or your kids or whatever. I don't know. I mean, it seems a little odd to give their ages for no reason. And we got come Saturday or Sunday lunch, Little St. James on the map behind Christmas Cove. FYI, I will let you all know what he says. So, doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. At the very least, he lied about not having interactions. Here he is trying to go meet him on the island. So, yikes. Doesn't look good for Lutnick here. And you guys thought Teal wasn't going to see? There's more Teal drop. Oh, the Teal connection has been solidified even further. Here is Teal celebrating with Epstein the success of the first major success in dismantling the U.S., the EU. This is Brexit, just the beginning. Now here's the full interaction here. Let's check out the bond. Let's check it out. It says Brexit, just the beginning. And the response is of what? Return to tribalism, counter to globalism, amazing new alliances. You and I both agreed zero interest rates were too high. And as I said in your office, finding things in their way to collapse was much easier than finding the next bargain. Well, it sounds like Epstein's just he could just be trying to con Teal right now. So this isn't really anything too damning. But let's check in on another one. Here's another one between Teal and Epstein. Let's check this one out. Here's the first one from Jeffrey to Peter Thiel. It says, I keep hearing your intentionality argument. Imagine if this mess is what Obama really wanted. Iraq, Iran, Libya, Syria, Palestine, Lebanon, Egypt. We would have to admit a strategy brilliantly executed. And then now here's to Jeffrey from Peter Thiel. It says, the intentionality argument would center on making sure the U.S. gets less involved with the rest of the world. I think that's the plan. The more of a mess with just lots of bad guys on different sides, the less we will do, which that is kind of revealing to the perspective of Teal, which is super important. He seems to have this weird foreign policy idea that if we can just destabilize the world, that then we can kind of just do whatever we want, is seemingly what he's getting at. And that way we can get less involved. So if everybody says this guy is a libertarian or whatever, well, this is the libertarianism we're talking about here. I guarantee you, if he was to reframe it, it would be this like, oh, well, we got to break a few eggs to like, oh, if we do this, then we get to that, or like we got to do something libertarian or whatever to get to the libertarian. And you're like, I don't think that's how that's going to play out, but okay. So yeah, here he is. Clearly, his philosophy when it comes to the foreign policy world is fucking destroy it all and then leave it alone. I guess the idea is that they would have less reason to be involved if it's just more of a mess. Wild way to look at the world, but these are our elites. Here's another one. Let's check on this one. Here's from Jeffrey to Peter. So actually, I might have it's from Jeffrey to Peter. It says, as you probably know, I represent the Rothschilds. I was hoping to figure out a way for the bank that has $160 billion in management can do something in tech. Best client list in the world. Prehistoric products. It can wait. Good luck in China. I'll be in Europe again 2028. Then island. So if you want to come around the world going west, come to the island. Or if you'd like to meet in Saudi at the end of the month. And then he says, certainly not in Saudi. This is Peter Thiel. Just think I will avoid the Middle East for the next decade or so. Should be back on East Coast in late April/May, sometime in New York City or on island. So there is kind of arranging another meetup with Epstein, which we talked about in the last drops. There was already stuff in there, kind of showing Thiel going to go hang out, or at least planning to hang out. I don't know if we have anything actually confirmed, but it's one of those things you kind of assume. And here's another one. Now let's kind of shift focus a little bit more over to the Rothschilds. Here is, let's check this one out. Here we go. It says, I thought you'd find it amusing that in a Harvard class on Hitler, they told the story of when he was so poor, he lived in a shelter for the homeless and destitute that had been financed by 3 wealthy families, the Gutmans, the Epsteins, and the Rothschilds. It turns out to be accurate. Now, that was Epstein, and he goes, whether it's a way to say that generosity is not rewarded or that the conspiracy theory still exists is quite pathetic. Now, that's from Ariane de Rothschild. It goes, first, it turns out to be 100% true. Hitler was selling his clothes and artwork and living in a shelter funded by Jews. Epstein, Rothschild, and Gutman, no conspiracy. The Epsteins were the Vienna bankers, bought their bank on the ring, hence still Pelé Epstein. Where are you? I'm in bed with your cold. And then that was Epstein. Now we got Rothschild again. Says, I know it's true, but regularly used to say that Rothschilds planned and supported Hitler in mass destruction to gain more power. I'm in the Maldives, also with a cold since yesterday. I've been diving a lot, 3 to 4 a day. Back in Europe, the 3rd. Ariane de Rothschild. So these are sort of back and forth he's having with them. Here's more international intrigue with a Rothschild and Epstein. So here's says, hi, Jeff. Very long day sitting on bank board. NBers are okay, but not satisfactory to me. And I'm putting them under pressure to be more innovative about mass asset management funds while restructuring. I'm in a dinner with a client. Fed up. I miss our talks and hope you're well. We'll be at home tomorrow night. Will you be free? And let's discuss Ukraine. This is right after the Maidan coup in 2014. This is 18 March 2014. So you have them clearly getting ready to discuss Ukraine info. So it's interesting. And here's another one about a contract Epstein had with the Rothschild group. Let's read this. Here we go. It says, Jeffrey Epstein, President, Southern Trust Incorporated. And it says, this is a letter of agreement. It says, Dear Jeffrey, you on behalf of Southern Trust Company Incorporated, a Virgin Islands Corporation, have been collaborating with Ariane de Rothschild on behalf of Edmund de Rothschild Holding, collectively the Rothschild Group, regarding risk analysis, Rothschild Group, and the application and use of certain algorithms respect to the same. The purpose of this letter agreement is to set forth the terms upon which you, on behalf of SDC, will continue to work with the Rothschild Group on the specified matters. The work, which is, it's weird that it's referred to as the work, and that's it. It says, 1, the work, work being capitalized, so that seems kind of cryptic. It says STC shall provide the work as further specified and agreed to between Jeffrey Epstein and Ariane de Rothschild from time to time while this agreement remains in effect. 2. Fees and expenses. In consideration for the work, the Rothschild Group shall pay the following to STC. For work specifically relating to outstanding matters between Edmund de Rothschild Holding and the United States, $25 million. Payment shall be made by the Rothschild Group to STC by not later than 3 days after EDRH makes payment to the U.S. The Rothschild Group shall reimburse STC for all travel and other out-of-pocket expenses incurred by you. STC or your or STC's employees, representatives, agents, or advisors in connection with the performance of work under this agreement. Confidentiality. You and STC agree that any and all confidential information or proprietary information identified as such, yada, yada, yada. Cuts off there. So interesting. $25 million contract with Epstein and the Rothschilds. Completely unsurprised. And here's a picture of Lady Lynn Forster de Rothschild. He's all up in all the different Rothschilds. We were showing Ariane earlier. This is Lynn Forster. I think there was a mention of another one of the men there. But yeah, he's all in that social milieu of the Rothschilds. So she was this is a picture of Ghislaine, Jeffrey, and Lady Forster, Lynn Forster. She's a co-owner and member of the board of directors of The Economist magazine with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. The Economist is co-owned by the Rothschild family. The Economist is one of the main vehicles of Rothschild propaganda. Only the naive or sheer idiots read it. This is Robin Minotti who shared that. So yeah, just kind of reestablishing the connections here. And moving on, we also got more elites, a little bit of a different flavor here. Apparently, Epstein was living in the Vatican for a period of time with the hope. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Never mind. Here is a. I just found a community note on this one. It says the email is anachronistically inaccurate because Pope John II died in 2005, 10 years before the day of this message, suggesting a possible fabrication of the document. Interesting. Let's read this though. Just keep in mind that we have that, so this might be wrong. So let's read it from the bottom. Says, this is from Brandon Thompson to Richard Kahn. How does this get to Epstein? Okay, then I guess maybe it gets forwarded later. So today I was washing the brushes, cleaning all lime washes, preparing myself to go back home. As Mr. Epstein walked in, I show him the sample. I worked last night on it, trying to express the 18C finish that would survive on the wall and how it would look like today after this long. You have to recall how the early 19C house was operating. There was no AC and the heating was just from the fireplace. The color usually was eventually repainted and left alone for decades. The wood resin would sip through the paint, leaving imperfections and embedded dust on the surface. I think I succeeded in my effort and showed it to Mr. Epstein. To my surprise, he liked it. I also lime washed the columns, which I called bald. The covering the surface with lime wash is the initial step for finishing them. We had short conversation and we further cleared future misunderstandings. He wants me to finish each column different as when he was living with John Paul II in Vatican, and he looked at variety of different columns captured in wars. He told me that every pope demanded to have a column from every concurred country, so there is a collection of different columns in Vatican. He also suggested to me to take a break. I think I would like to do this. The main reason for this is to refresh my eyes and a relaxed, cool look at the project after a few days. From my experience, it works well. He also suggested that I will come with Bart. I'm not sure how long we can stay, but I would let you know a bit later. Epstein wants me to refinish 2 globe stands, which Bart can assist me with stripping existing finish, and will continue with standing and fishing them. So it sounds like some contractor, but it mentions casually there when he was living with John Paul II in Vatican. So a previous time. Now this is actually, in retrospect, this is a ridiculous community note, because the community note is that he died in 2005, 10 years before the day of the message. But if you read the message, it doesn't give a date. It says as when he was living. So they could have been referring to something from 10 years prior. But now that I also forgot to mention the response there it got forwarded, and then it got, I guess, from Epstein, sent back to this guy. It says, is Saturday departure with Wednesday return okay for Brandon and Bart? Please advise. Thank you. So whatever, that one was not relevant, but he did get to this and returned it. You see the May 15th, 2015 date. And the original email was sent as 2015 as well. But yeah, the community note is pretty weak, honestly. Yeah, because they're just referring to it. Nothing about this says when the time it was. But hey, whatever. Moving on, more elites. This one's pretty wild. Here's a little bit of a billionaire type stuff. It's a billionaire Tom Pritzker, which is that JB or JD or the fat guy. There's like a fat Pritzker in Chicago. I can't remember his name, but whatever. I know it's a Pritzker family, a bunch of billionaires in there. But this is billionaire Tom Pritzker. Apparently he bragged to Epstein that he was in Afghanistan with boys with toys. He even got a chopper sent out to him. So let's read this email from Tom Pritzker to Jeffrey Epstein. It says, I'm in a remote valley of Afghanistan. It's my birthday wish with boys with toys. Don't know what that means. Sounds like some sort of code word. Spent time with Petraeus yesterday, General Petraeus, and he loaned me a chopper. Actually, two, with one as a backup. Can't call till tomorrow. So he's doing something with boys with toys, and he's hanging out with General Petraeus in Afghanistan, and he's just loaning him military equipment. Kind of wild. Okay. Here's another photo that dropped from the files. Here's Prince Andrews on all fours lying on the ground, over a woman lying on the ground. Don't know what to make of that, but I can tell you put some redactions in a weird scenario, and it makes it look really creepy really quick. Oh yeah, here's a little Bill Gates thing that everyone's been sharing around. Another one of these elites, a tech elite. Apparently, Bill Gates caught an STD and then tried to get Epstein to help with it. So let's read this. This is a long email. This is from Jeffrey Epstein. It's to Jeffrey Epstein from Jeffrey Epstein. But I don't know if maybe he was typed it up to send it to himself and maybe sent it to him later. I'm not sure. It says, Dear Bill, I cannot believe that you've chosen to both disregard and discard our friendship developed over the last 6 years. I'm aware that accidents happen. It is how each of us have chosen to deal with this unfortunate event that has left me dismayed beyond comprehension. You've decided to discharge me from my job. Had Larry, your PR person, tell me that I engage in morally inappropriate behavior and then ask me to be the major actor in a cover-up so that you can maintain the reputation that you worked so hard to achieve. Shortly after my critical eye operation, I spent my day having your emails read to me so as not to miss a beat. When I could see out of one eye, my first task was to correct my vision so that in that one eye, so that I could read them myself. I assumed the dedication to our relation ran both ways. Larry has now asked me to recommit to a confidentiality agreement and have categorically told me that you were of the firm mind that we should no longer have any direct ongoing business relationship, with a total disregard for its impact on the public perception of my reputation. You've requested that I diligently avoid the truth, tell people that Bill will not invest with me, and craft an answers that suits yours and Melinda's needs. In fairness, you did agree to send you a letter of recommendation should a future employer ask for one. You have told me that Melinda insists on me ignoring our friendship, not even communicating with you unless Larry is copied or present. Though you have consistently maintained that I could not have done a better job and that I was underpaid compared to my contribution. You then, beyond all sense of fairness and frankly decency, said that as generous compensation for keeping the Gates reputation intact, you would let me keep what we agreed I'd already owned and give me a total of 2 years severance. Similar to that of Christine Turner, a casualty of a former accident, I can assure you that if the shoe was on the other foot, I would have said, Boris, this is not your fault. I confess to Melinda, you didn't. It was in a moment of weakness, and I promise that we'll do anything within my power to make it right for you. I have more money than anyone needs, and I do my utmost to structure something so that you will not be penalized for my error. Lucky for me, I have enough money to mediate a horrible situation, though it will not heal the injury. It will make you secure in your future. In addition, I will bend over backwards to make sure your next career is rewarding and on an upswing. I appreciate the fact this event drastically alters your plans, and I'm very aware of the career path you gave up to join the foundation. I'm very sorry, but as I believe time heals all wounds, the terrible pain felt currently will eventually pass. In that regard, I suggest I buy you the house so that you so bad your heart is set on. In addition to 5 years of severance, will buy you out of the investment contract we agreed. 30 to 40% of a $100 million partnership for $30 million in today's dollars, terms and conditions to be agreed. That's what I would have done had I been in your shoes. What I did receive, however, was an unfriendly, strongly worded email telling me how employable I am and that I should not look to you for any significant financial help in the future. To add insult to the injury, you then subsequently, with tears in your eyes, implore me to please delete the emails regarding your STD. Your request that I provide you antibiotics you can surreptitiously give to Melinda, and the description of your penis. Also made... look at this stupid thing. You also made it clear to me that I am not to refer to redacted. That is another topic that must remain between the two of us. In return for all these requests, which I would have done without a second thought, I am not going to attend meetings with Melinda. I should continue to provide you the same level... sorry, my bad. Fucked up. Same level of service and dedication that I've done so diligently until you're ready to discard me and our friendship in sometime after the first of the year. I have attempted to weigh my options carefully. You are a great person who has done a great deal of good. I'm concerned that Melinda decides, as you said, to file for a public divorce. The damage done to the pledge program alone would result in billions of dollars of money no longer being used for social good, as I'm sure that some wives and husbands would feel free to retreat from their commitments. The voice you have used so well to carry forth your ideals would at least for some period of time be stifled, and many good programs by no fault of their own would suffer. I'm also acutely aware that my own voice and career would be damaged. And here's another one. It says, I've decided to resign my position effective immediately at BG3 in the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I have not come to this decision quickly or without a great deal of thought. During the past few weeks, I've been caught up in a severe marital dispute between Melinda and Bill. I have the greatest respect for my friend of 7 years, and I wish them both well. In my role as his right hand, I had been asked on multiple occasions, and in hindsight, wrongly acquiesced in participating in things that have ranged from the morally inappropriate to the ethically unsound, and had been repeatedly asked to do other things that get near or potentially over the line to illegal. Though it was kindly suggested that I make a transition to a new position after my 6 years of service, and that Bill would, in his words, give me a generous package. I feel it would be dishonest to myself and my future from helping Bill to get drugs in order to deal with the consequences of sex with Russian girls, to facilitating his illicit trysts with married women, and to being asked to provide Adderall for bridge tournaments. I feel I owe it to my friends and future colleagues to admit a moral failure, to ask forgiveness, and move on with my life. It is funny how he makes himself sound like the victim here when, like, let's be real. This is exactly what this dude wanted. But all right, let's keep moving on. Another one of these elite Epstein stories. Here is Norway Crown Prince Mette-Marit, who is... This is going to be relevant in a minute. Let's just read this article. A little bit of a looker, kind of a cutie pie. But let's check this out. It says, let's read this email between them. See how weird this shit gets. Starting off, it says, tons, and they all lead to the same conclusion, that nature protects even the vegetables. The most potent poisons are natural. The most diseases are a result of other species winning out. The idea that living in sync with nature is not from something, but from 1998 BC. A concept that championed for something. All right, whatever. That one's irrelevant. Let me see. This is not the one I was looking for, but we'll read this one again. It says, you always make me smile because you tickle my brain, but I want the data, or the bill from now, or the bill is mine. Is the cocktail of all the unnaturals that have a profound effect on the early stages of development in humans. Soon people won't be able to make new humans anymore, but I guess that would be la la land great. We can just design them in a lab. Well, that's nice. But yeah, the you tickle my brain. I thought this, my bad. I mixed this up. Let me see if I can find the other one in here. But fuck. Oh shit, this one's wild. Okay, I didn't see this one. Here's a new one. I was actually looking for the one. There's one of these emails where apparently she asked Epstein his thoughts on showing her teenage son like porn, essentially. It's weird. And now that I guess a little bit getting ahead of myself, that son of hers is actually the one we covered in the show a while back, who's currently dealing with legal problems for multiple violent rapes. So, hey, I'm seeing a trend. But this one's wild. Let's check this out. So it makes me wonder, I guess we'd have to look into the timing on this. Like, could that be Epstein's kid? Says Met is a mess. Says what happened with Met now? She wants to carry your kid. Says just done with DARPA management since 8 a.m. Whole day at MTG's. You should schedule your trip to my island. Did anyone tell you about our Met conversation? Marco, etc. Okay, well, that's a little bit of a jump. Sounds like she says she wants to carry your kid. But yes, I'll show you real quick though who I'm talking about. This guy right here. This is her son, who is the one. There was another email, which I don't have. My bad. I thought I had the right one up. But there is another email where she's talking to Jeffrey Epstein asking about showing her, I think he's like 15 or 16-year-old son porn, which if it needed to be said out there, I'll just say as a man who was once a young boy myself, no, do not show your children porn. Like, I mean, I bet you most kids that age love that shit, like boys, but like they don't love it if it's being shown to them by their mother. At least they shouldn't. And if they do, that's cause for concern. But yes, this is the guy. He is currently standing trial for allegedly raping 4 women. He's the son of Crown Princess Mette Marit of Norway. So yeah, we've covered this on the show before. You can go hunt for those if you're really interested. But yeah, let's move on to the chat. Say some more good morning. Check in and see what you guys all got to say. And then we'll get into some pizza time. All right, let's check in. Let's check in on y'all. Don't forget you can give me money if you want, and then it could makes it easier to find chats. Good morning, Fandalander. Good morning, good morning. Good to see you here. Good morning, good morning. Looking through the chats. Fire Pixie says she's been snowed in for 5 days today. The first day I'm going back to work. I got to tell you, I really enjoyed not working. Yeah, don't we all? Don't we all? It is always nice not working. All right. See. Good morning, They Say What Now? Good to see you. Good to have you join the chat. Good morning, Northside. Good morning. Be sure to hit that like button as you guys are rolling in. Good morning, Aggressively Agreeing. Says claiming a Jewish cabal exists went from being anti-Semitic to Semitic history. I know, right? That's just real. That is just what is happening now. So hit that like button, Bobo saying. You got a fucking shitty live viewers to like ratio right now. Bump that up. So I know you guys are lying. You're not hitting that like button. Let me see. Northside says, I knew the second I saw a bunch of wizards appearing out of the sewers in New York City. Yeah. You guys are talking about gooning for some reason in the chat. That's nice. That's nice. Aggressively Agreeing says, are all Jews horrible with grammar? I know. I've actually heard, funny enough, I've listened to a few different podcasts here and there where people have debated. Not like, obviously, it's not the only topic. But, I mean, it is like this weird theory is it's almost like they're, like, too good for it. I mean, I don't know. It's weird. I have noticed, though, it feels like maybe I'm losing my mind. But some of these typos seem like a consistent sort of typo. And you're like, is this really code? Like, they swap out and put equal marks or whatever. Or not equals. Equal signs in a bunch of places when it doesn't make sense. So I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it. Maybe I never was big into emailing. Maybe emailing did have some different jargon that people, type that way, but I would never email the way these guys email. It is very, not that I really like compose it in my emails in like the greatest way, but I mean, I don't know. I would proofread it for the typos a lot more than these guys have. That's for sure. It is weird, but I've heard people make it out like it's some pretentious thing with these rich people. I don't know. Good morning, Iron Giant Man. Good morning, good morning. Good to see you here. Tilla Spook, good morning. Good to see you. He's saying, if you're going to be Christian, be a base Christian, go check out the Marcionite Church of Christ. Which, yeah, I guess if you're going to go that route, may as well be base. You guys know I'm not religious. But hey, if anyone was going to get my seal of approval, it'd probably be the Marcionites, maybe the Agnostics, probably more the Marcionites. Agnostic seems like it could easily just spill over into weird weird, the cryptic fucking, what am I trying to, evil nonsense. Because there's so many different variations, and it seems like a lot of that's been subverted. Whereas Marcionism just seems like kind of a more base version of Christianity. So. Boba says, I love this community. I fucking love you all. I fucking love making the show when I can. We love having you here as well. Tilla says, Epstein knew Hitler. I'm still watching stuff for an hour ago. No, I don't think so. I don't think that means I think what he's saying is his family helped fund. Apparently there was what was it? It was some sort of shelter or something. I don't know if we would consider it like the equivalent of like a homeless shelter, but it was essentially there were rich people. I believe, what did he say? The Rothschilds, the Epsteins, and somebody else. I forget the other family. And they all owned that place, and that happened to be where I guess Hitler was living for a little while. I guess he was selling art out of there, and was, it sold all of his belongings and was just trying to get by, and he lived there for a period of time. So it's actually really not as big of a deal as they're making out. It's more of just like a fun gee whiz. It's not like he was like literally living in their house, but it sounds like he was living in some sort of shelter. Although they did make reference in there, the Ariane Rothschild did in one of those emails about how she did make reference to how, it's kind of hard to tell because they were using that weird email shorthand there, so I don't really know exactly what she's getting at, but it sounds like she's either just making, she might be making reference to it, or she's saying she believes it. It's hard to tell by the wording of it, but she does reference the theory that like the Rothschilds like supported him and yada, 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 kind of essentially that they were kind of the driving force between World War II and, all that. Good morning, DWS. Good morning. Yeah, I see Northside pointing that teenage son in question is a rapist now. Yeah, that's why you don't show your kids porn, weirdos. Don't be showing your kids porn. Good morning, Marty McFly. Said, well, only good morning from now on. Good morning. Good morning, Marty McFly. Good to see you here. Almost all caught up in the chats. Good morning, Down Further. It's to make the data less searchable, says Down Further. I don't know what you're referring to there, but the typos. There. Oh, okay, you're referring to the typos. That's a smart. I didn't even think about that. That is smart because it is like a lot of these are in database. Although, were they really thinking that far ahead? That's kind of wild. Although maybe there probably were search functions and email inboxes even back then. It's not really that complicated. So you might be onto something. There. Good morning, WC Acola. Good morning. Good morning, Emery Lawrence says Nephilim Death Squad is a cool Christian podcast. Okay. They're all right, I guess. I don't know. I don't have anything bad to say about them. So, but I'm glad you like their show. All right, guys, let's get into some pizza. It's pizza time, everybody. To kind of start off this conversation, I do think it kind of weirdly ties into all of this. Here's Chris Brunette pointing out that Nick Fuentes for the past several weeks basically being like, Jeffrey Epstein wasn't a pedophile, he was an ephebophile. That is why I'm selling his merchandise. Ephebophilia is based. He goes, Jeffrey Epstein today, I am a pedophile. So here's an email back and forth. Says this is from Epstein to somebody, we don't know who. He says, Paris with Woody Allen, the subject being questioned for you. He says, sorry for all the typos. And the response is, I think, or it says for less pedophile convention. And then Epstein goes, I think pedophilae is the plural. So whatever, maybe a little cheeky, goofy. Maybe there's some sort of inside joke we're missing there, but it does seem to directly imply exactly what we're all thinking, which is pizza. And let's check out some pizza tweets, because this is not at all weird. Here's one. Here's a alert. Send pizza to Bobby. So the to and from are both redacted, which is fucking criminal here to me. Goes from Daphne to Epstein. May I bring you your slice of pizza to you, respectfully, Daphne. So these people really seem to love pizza. These are just two examples. You go through all this, and there's a shitload of pizza references. I forget how many there were. Someone found all of them. It's a lot. There are a lot of pizza references. These motherfuckers really love pizza. Here's another one. It goes, she looks pregnant. Oh, I don't even have this up. My bad. Let me show you these real quick. Not that it matters. Here are these emails. If you want to verify, I didn't have the thing up. Here we go. And then here's another one. Says she looks pregnant. Says she looks pregnant. And this is from, we don't even know who this is from. There's another redacted. And then the response is from someone to Jeffrey. It says, you mean radiating a soft glow with the look of bliss and excitement? Yeah, that's the pizza. So I don't know, a little more on the nose what they mean by pizza here. A little dark. Well, let's talk a little bit about pizzas. We've covered in this show many times, different, a lot of times in Already Dead or whatever. It comes up quite frequently when it comes to pizza connections. It says, here's a little blast from the past that we've covered in the show. It says, you guys ever wonder why the State Department rented out the Iranian embassy to Jeffrey Epstein in 1992 to 1996, who then submitted to Ivan Fisher, a mob lawyer that worked massive case like the Pizza Connection, which involved pizza parlors being used as fronts to sell drugs? Which we're not going to go through all this. Like I said, we've covered this in depth before, all these different articles covering all this stuff, all the different excerpts they have here. But yes, the Pizza Connection trial, that was a thing. It was against the Sicilian Mafia, which Sicilian, always you throw in some 3 parentheses around that motherfucker. It was centered on a number of independently owned pizza parlor fronts used to distribute drugs. I'm sure that's the only thing they distributed. So, and this was, keep in mind, he was subletting when he was living in the Iranian embassy in New York that he was living at, essentially, I think it was like rent-free. It was a confusing situation. You guys, I don't even know what episode I covered it on, but you guys go dig into this on your own, I guess. But yeah, he lived in the Iranian embassy for a while until the government kicked him out. And during that time, he had subletted out to multiple people. It wasn't even just Ivan Fisher. There were a bunch of other really shady motherfuckers that he was subletting out to. And it kind of leaves some interesting implications when you look at those people. Implications a lot like this. Here's a little P2 rabbit hole. This shit kind of rhymes. So here's R.J. Morrow. I always like his digs. So he says, after Pasolini's 1975 murder, his movie Salo, depicting fascist ritual violence, foreshadowed that P2 Masonic Lodge's crimes. Members included Silvio Berlusconi, later persecuted for crimes involving minors, and Alessandro Mancini, arrested in New York for attempting to buy a child. So let's dig into this a little bit. These are different excerpts from all over the place. It says, much of what the X dossier contains is hard to believe. I believe that's referring to the... we've covered this on the Dutroux series, that X dossier. It describes allegations of extreme acts of sexual violence against children, and I do mean extreme, committed by some of the most high-profile individuals in Belgium at the time. Politicians, magistrates, royalty. Some it reads like literal excerpts from libertine pornography written by Marquis de Sade, particularly his novel 120 Days of Sodom, which was adapted into an Italian film called Salo by director Pier Paolo Pasolini. Pasolini's film is about 4 leaders from institutions within the fascist Republic of Salo in Italy, a bishop, a magistrate, a duke, and a president, who meet at a palatial estate in the twilight of World War II to solidify their alliance through marrying each other's daughters during a black mass ritual involving the torture, rape, and murder of a group of kidnapped youths. Pasolini had made a point of dressing the guards of these fascist leaders in uniforms of the Decima Flottiglia, MAS, a former regiment of the Italian Navy commanded by Junio Valerio Borghese. This was an aristocrat known as the Black Prince of Borghese, descended from the Borghese family of the Italian black nobility. In 1943, Mussolini established a Nazi puppet state in northern Italy, tucked up beneath the breast of Germany, called the Republic of Salo. The Black Prince and his Decima Flottiglia MAS were a prominent piece of the army there that continued to fight the Allies in the northern territories under the Republic's administration right up until the end of World War II. Now, I guess for those who didn't quite get there, this guy, Pasolini, he made this film, and it's basically based on real people. It's kind of like the characters and the events and the settings seem to be very much based on real things. Obviously, like the cover here is, this is fake. But this is very much like a Eyes Wide Shut type situation where, who's that? Stanley Kubrick, where it's like everyone's like, he's telling this is very much one of those. It says, unlike some fascist collaborators strung up beside Mussolini in the Piazza Loreto, Junio Borghese had been chaperoned to the sanctuary of Vatican City by OSS spook James Angleton. Borghese then became the primary OSS CIA asset in establishing the Italian branch of Operation Gladio's Stay Behind network designed to quash left-leaning political movements there. Because of this, the Black Prince lived on to become a figurehead of Italy's post-war fascist movement. Paolo Pasolini made Salo in response to an Italian fascist group attempt in 1970, orchestrated by Junio Borghese and carried out in his name, known as the Golpe Borghese coup. After it failed, Borghese had fled to Spain, where he died in 1974, possibly poisoned. A year later, and just prior to Salo's theatrical premiere, Pasolini was murdered horrifically in 1975. Film reels from another production Pasolini was working on were stolen, and he reportedly went to meet with the thieves who demanded payment for their return. His partially burned remains were found on a dusty beachside football pitch, with most of his bones broken and his testicles smashed in with a blunt object. If you read film analysis on Salo, you'll generally get a lot of Salo as a metaphor for this or that. However, perhaps Pasolini's intent had been to show something quite literal. In 1981, a fascist secret society called P2, linked to the Golpe Borghese coup attempt a decade earlier, was uncovered after a membership list fell into police hands during the raid of a villa belonging to an Italian financier named Licio Gelli. A list of names, some of which have been leaked to the press in preceding weeks, include 3 cabinet ministers, 2 undersecretaries, 30 members of parliament, including the leader of the Social Democrat Party, 170 top military officers, the foreign ministry's highest-ranking diplomat, scores of high-ranking civil servants and public officials, magistrates, industrialists, university professors, policemen, and journalists, including the editor and publisher of Italy's most prestigious daily newspaper, Corriere della Sera. The most notable P2 member was future Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi, who would later be prosecuted for hosting underage sex orgies at his palatial estate in 2010. Another was Alessandro Mancini, a member of Italy's old money industrialist establishment in the seaport city of Trieste. In 1988, Americans casually eating breakfast would read about this member of the P2 lounge traveling to the United States to purchase a 10-year-old girl for a ritual seemingly familiar to the one Pasolini had explored as a metaphor in his film Salo. An Italian businessman was arrested at Kennedy Airport after a California undercover cop promised him a 10-year-old girl for a weekend of sadistic sex, authorities said yesterday. Alessandro Mancini, 47, owner of a tire company in Trieste and the married father of a 20-year-old daughter, was nabbed in New York last week in a trap set by federal prosecutors in Los Angeles. Authorities said Mancini, in tape-recorded telephone conversations, expressed a desire to either rent or buy a 10-year-old girl in the U.S. for hard sex. The tapes, which were not included in the indictment, are part of an active probe by California officials into Mancini's affairs. Mancini described in lurid detail what he planned to do with his intended victim, authorities said. He told them about whipping her, putting spikes into her body, and forcing her to eat excrement and to drink urine. Assistant U.S. Attorney Dave Shapiro told U.S. Magistrate Carol Amon yesterday during a detention hearing at Brooklyn Federal Court. Shapiro said Mancini also had told the undercover cop about a prior encounter with a 13-year-old Brazilian girl he had rented. He said the businessman told the cop, "It was hard sex, but not very hard sex. She didn't die." He also told the agent that he had a snuff videotape of the real murder of a young girl after sex. Lawyer Jonathan Marks said Mancini was flabbergasted over the allegations. He's well respected in this country, and he cannot believe that anyone would take this seriously, Marks said. To him, this is all pure fantasy. Trieste was part of the former Republic of Salo, and being a seaport city had strong left-leaning labor union movement after the war. This had made it one of the first targets in Operation Gladio, using former Decima Flottiglia MAS operatives under Borghese's direction in 1953. I know that was a lot, but this is historical parallel, let's be real, to this sort of thing. Here's another one of these things in the files that kind of plays along these lines. I'm not going to read all of this to you, but here is, it looks like a poem or scrapbooking or something alike. It does seem like it's written by a young girl, and if you go through all of these, it's up on William Ramsey's page if you want. I'll read the first tweet to give you guys a little bit of an idea. It says, "Wow, this is bad. Proof Epstein and Maxwell are involved in genetic experiments and infant trafficking. Not for the faint of heart. You should skip this one. These people are monsters." Now, this is, I think, one of the first pages here. "Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Don't speak. She doesn't talk. I can't stop shaking. It's been a week. A decision was made, but I can't tell Jeffrey. These things happen. Why didn't I close my eyes fast enough? The doctor was different, though. I think from Israel. He had kind eyes, but didn't speak directly to me. This was different. A shot and those rod-like things had a hook and so much pain. Ghislaine said to push all the pain away. I don't understand. Blood and water all over the bed, and she was right. Like a feeling when your tummy hurts and you have to push. She said to close my eyes and put her hands over my eyes, but I didn't close them because of these tiny cries. I'm so lost. I saw between her fingers this tiny head and body in the doctor's hands. It reached his tiny arm up and had a tiny foot. I closed my eyes and no more. Now it goes on and on and on. It is kind of seemed like this scrapbook from somebody. Obviously, we don't know exactly where this came from, particularly. So this could be entirely bullshit, but it does paint a very sinister picture of what looks to be a young girl that looks like she had kids and been forced to get rid of the kid. And yeah, it's not a good look. Not a good look. You guys can check that one out. And here's another one from a Sarah Ferguson who allegedly told Epstein she was waiting for a 19-year-old or $20 to come back from a shagging weekend. Thought that was interesting which is, kind of to these sickos, which, I mean, whatever, that's an adult daughter, I guess, but still, I could never wrap my head around talking to someone like this. Here is the original tweet or message here, not tweet, email is New York. The response from Sarah is not sure yet, just waiting for Eugenie to come back from a shagging weekend. Which, hey, someone in the chat, though, I think Sarah Ferguson, I think, is, if I recall correctly, I believe that's the wife of, what's his name? The Prince Andrew guy. Yeah, Prince Andrew. Now, shagging, if anyone's British or Australian, could shagging weekend just mean like cool weekend or something? Or does that explicitly mean fuck? Because I guess maybe this could be a language barrier. I am interested. If anyone in the chat is, speaks the English language and of the old English, let me know. I'd be interested. But either way, that's a little weird. And this kind of makes stuff like this seem pretty prescient. One second. Of course, the audio's out. Give me a second. Here's an old video that I've actually had bookmarked for a long time, but it's kind of become relevant again. This is kind of one of those ones, these crazy claims that are out there that you're kind of like, what is this? I mean, even me, you see this and you go, I don't know. I need something. I need something to corroborate this. But it gives a little more stock to this even being a thing. So let's watch this video together real quick. Oh, I forgot it's in Spanish. So, okay, this is a lady, some young lady that came out out front of like a hotel or something. She says, they ate humans. Disgusting. They ate humans. Turn the volume down a little bit. I wasn't aware of anything. I mean, about the murders, yes. But they had eaten humans. Humans. They smell like human flesh. So this is a story you see go around every now and then. It says 21-year-old model Gabriela Rico Jimenez after attending an elite party. She disappeared forever after this night, was never seen again. Now in 2026, pages from the Epstein files vindicate everything she says she saw. The elites torture, sacrifice, perform rituals, and feast on human flesh. Now apparently there's a debunk out there, which I'm going to follow up later, but from what I saw from the comments, it was just that this is just based on what she said, which that is, from my understanding, it's only based on what she said. Now Grok did say apparently this was the last time she was seen. It says, based on available records, a 2009 video of Gabriela Rico Jimenez's outburst outside a Monterey hotel is indeed her last known public sighting. She was arrested, transferred to a psychiatric facility, and there have been no confirmed updates on her whereabouts since. Now, I mean, that's just Grok, though, so I don't know. We'll see. But let's on to the torture question. There might be something to that. There's been multiple tweets, or not tweets. I keep saying tweets. Files referencing torture. Here is another one. This is let's read this. This is from Tancredi Salvatore Marchiolo, I guess. Says, do you want me to try to do her or redacted? Do you want me to try to do her or just torture her on redacted? Do you want me to try to do her or just torture her on, and then it ends again. So this is a name that apparently has come up a few times. This is a Tancredi Salvatore Marchiola. Apparently, he's not just some random guy. He shows up directly in his inbox. Epstein's assistant is emailing him to coordinate meetings at the Manhattan townhouse. He's acting like a middleman, bringing people over, setting things up, clearly with access. Outside the files, he's tied to big hedge fund finance, listed as a partner at Brenner Capital. This is just what they're showing us. So, a little weird. Here's another one of these emails. So, between this Marchiolo guy and Epstein, here it says, I was with her night, strange tits. I shouldn't laugh there, but I hear she's lesbian, strange tits. I hear she's lesbian, don't know, at least it's in your new age range. So Epstein wrote that, and he goes, a bit old, 25. The tits look like a 70-year-old sagging woman that had them reduced, and she has a kid. There's a saying in Rome that rhymes, de dove esque la testa finisse la festa. Once the head gets out of there, the party is over. So here's another one of his. Apparently this is the guy right here, this fellow. So apparently he's an Italian finance professional and compliance officer, primarily recognized for his roles within London-based hedge funds and his presence in unsealed communications involving Epstein. Born in May 1985, he spent much of his career in the UK financial sector. So some finance guy, some Italian finance guy. And they kind of finish off this Pizzagate commentary. I guess a little bit of a blast in the past. Here's Liz Crocken. Says, for everyone who was outraged by the email sent to Jeffrey Epstein stating, I love the torture video, where were you in 2016 when Tony Podesta's email to John Podesta stating he was still in the torture chamber after a fun last night came out? When these satanic pedophiles talk about torture videos and torture chambers, they literally mean exactly that, and no, it's not a joke. I will say a little bit weird. I'm pretty sure Liz is if I recall correctly, is a little bit of a Trump stan. So it does feel a little weird, a little odd. They're like, oh, where were you? You're like, oh, well, okay. Like, this is one of those ones where like, okay, if you're here at the party already, like, I don't really need to rub it in your face. I mean, maybe like, hey, remember that thing that happened back with Podesta back in the day? But I can let bygones be bygones as long as we're on the same team here, I guess. But I just find that funny. Here's the interaction they're referring to, the one of the Podesta ones. You can see, and there's a whole bunch of Podesta stuff. That's a whole other dig on its own. Dig into the wild Podesta shit. So still in torture chamber. Another question, do you two want to have a February 14th Valentine's Day dinner? And then the response is, last night was fun. So I believe that's between both the Podestas there. So John Podesta and Alex. So interesting. Then here's the original, another one of these torture references in the Epstein files from Jeffrey Epstein to somebody else. This is Jeffrey saying it. It says, where are you? Are you okay? I loved the torture video. Well, we'll have plenty more to go through with you guys tomorrow. There's just too much to go through with all this, but we're going to go get out of here. Oh, man, that's a lot to stuff in. But we'll be back tomorrow. I don't know, probably again another day, wall-to-wall Epstein stuff, because there's just too much. I mean, there's all the Trump stuff. There's Bannon stuff. There's just too much. There's too much to cover. So, but, join me again tomorrow. We'll be doing this probably around 11 a.m. Eastern, give or take. By the way, keep a lookout. Me and Austin, we'll announce more when we know for certain, but me and Austin might be doing some big shit here soon, so keep an eye out. I already let the patrons know because that's what you get for giving me money. But with that, guys, I will see you all tomorrow. I do have a fun little outro for you guys. Got to give big shine to the homie, homie Toad. Apparently he got mentioned on Sneeko's stream, so that'll be our little outro, a little NHH for y'all, a little blast from the past that's kind of coming back to us. But for those who want to support what I'm doing here, leave a like, share, subscribe, comment, leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. You can find the show on YouTube, Rumble, all the major auto podcatchers, and Twitter as well at TarragangJose. And if you want to support the show in the best way you can do that with money over at patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. There you go. See the QR code right there? Missing it. There you go. QR code. And like I said, patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. They both bring you the same place. Lowest level is $2. It gives you access to early episodes. I do about 1 to 2 of those per week. Try to keep about 4 or so behind the paywall at a given time. I think I have like 5 or 6 right now. I've been really bad about releasing public episodes. I've been spoiling the patrons, sort of. keeping that shit even more exclusive just because I've been too busy and forgetting to publish episodes. But I'll get on it eventually. Until then, the paywall will keep on growing. I do have more ready to go behind the paywall we're going to record this week, so get there. But yeah, you also get access to ad-free RSS feed. You get access to Telegram. You get access to the pre-show, post-show, and video calls. Me and Austin's weekly live call-in show, Already Dead, which you guys know that's going to be a banger this week. So pop in tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. Eastern with me and Austin go live. We will have so much to talk about. And yeah, I give a big shout out to my highest level, which is my sponsors. Every episode is a big thank you for their support. And my previous co-host and Tower Gang, at Learning Toad, also at Abrogate D's, at ZOVUCK, at _Invizeal, Tim Tuttle, at Jolly Cleveland. Big fan of the show, Torme, at Wayne Tackless, 100 Car for Kids, No Free Lunch, Jack, Mark Vesbull, and Jacob Wintergrad of the Biblical Anarchy Podcast. With that, guys, we do have a fun little outro for you all. This is the homie, Toad. So be sure to hit that likes on your way out. Do all the things. We love you all. Bye-bye.
Nigga, howl at them. Nigga, howl at them. They don't understand the things I say on Twitter. Nigga, howl at them. They don't understand the things I say on Twitter.
Banger.
All my niggas Nazis, nigga, howl at them. Nigga, howl at them.
Banger.
Actually, I'm going to take a minute to go through some chats. I totally forgot to go through the chat one more time. And we're making good time, so why not? So let's check in through. I saw some of you guys made some comments that I think were somewhat interesting. Then we'll get out of here. Sorry, I threw it off a little bit. I don't know what's up with me. I'm all frazzled today. Too much shit. So here's Sirhan, Sirhan Solo. That's a fun name. It says, I used to sell weed at work via email. So yeah, people write emails and code all the time. So okay. I'd be curious what you think though about like the weird punctuations, like odd, like equal signs and stuff. Like, is that code or is that just like, I don't know. Maybe whatever. Maybe I'm asking too much for me here. But yeah, I guess that makes sense. So. But even then, though, those were like pretty. I don't feel like people really tried too often. You just would say instead of weed, you could just call it trees. Bring me some trees. Let me see. Let me see if there's anything else. Shagging is fucking, says Daz. Yeah, so I guess there's no way around it. Okay, that was what I really wanted to pop in for. I figured maybe there's someone would know. Are you over in England? I'll be curious. I guess don't dox yourself, but good morning, Gnome. Good morning. I'll catch you on the way out. Jose, when are you coming on our show? I don't know. When you invite me? I don't know. I'd come on your show. I think because you're running the Tower something. I forget what you guys are calling it. Some variation of Tower Gang or something, like the name. I think you guys invited me before, and I said I would, and then just no one followed up. I don't know, but I'm pretty bad at it, at following up for this stuff. But hit me up. I'll come on sometime. So assuming we can make the time work. Good morning, Marnimac. Good morning. Good to see you. All right, let's get out of here. Oh, you're from the UK, so Daz. There we go. We got. I'm glad I stuck around. I wanted to get some final authority if shagging could mean anything else. No, that means fucking. So. That weird sick fuck was talking to Epstein about, oh, my daughter's out on a fucking trip. She's getting fucked. That's great. That's wholesome. That's wonderful. What a great. I hope no one ever has a relationship with their children like that. That's awful. But these elites are something else, aren't they? But with that, guys, we're gonna get out of here. I love you all. We'll catch you all tomorrow around 11 a.m. Eastern, give or take. We'll see you. Bye bye.